Hello YouTube family, welcome back to Photon Rookie. I just got back from 3 weeks in Colorado and did a little bit of astrophotography out there, so thought I'd make this video and share a little bit about the trip with you. Some things you need to do when you go to Colorado. You need to make sure that you drink at least a few cans of Colorado Kool-Aid. I've always liked this. I got hooked on it when I was in the Air Force in Denver a long time ago. You also want to be able to play in the snow in June. I really enjoyed this and the low temperatures because in my home state of Virginia, they were sweltering in the mid-90s with extremely high humidity. So this cold, crisp air was a welcome respite. Also, there's lots of fantastic scenery in Colorado to take in. I spent quite a bit of time hiking and just relaxing out in the wilderness. Had a lot of places all to myself. Lots of wildlife in Colorado. Spotted this big elk during a hike. They're very abundant around Rocky Mountain National Park and even in downtown Estes Park, sometime walking down the sidewalk. And you really should not go to Colorado without making reservations to go to Casa Bonita. They're about 2 months out on reservations, so make sure that you get your reservations early. So I visited the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, decided I would go up there and try to test out the S50 in scenery mode, parked my 4Runner out in the sandy parking lot out away from the crowd, and as you can see I got a great view of Long's Peak up there in the distance. So I put the S50 on the hood of my 4Runner. It was a calm day, no wind, so I wasn't really worried about getting the jitters trying to take pictures or a video. Just had to dial it in on Long's Peak in the top left there, off in the distance, and see how well it does in scenery mode because I'd never really used it. So here's a picture of the V-notch up next to the summit on Long's Peak. It's a pretty clear picture, a little bit hazy. Here's another picture to the right side of the summit. Still lots of snow and ice up there. I was hoping to catch some climbers on the summit, but there was no one up there, and I learned that there was a lot of ice and snow on the route, so people weren't climbing it yet. Here's a little bit closer picture of the V-notch up there. It looks like a big giant razor blade up there. So then I switched it to video mode, and video mode did pretty well. You can see it's very windy up there. You can see the clouds moving behind the peak. Long's Peak is over 14,000 feet tall. It's one of the more popular mountains for people to climb in Colorado, but it is not for the faint of heart. An average of 2 people a year die on the trail hiking to the top, and there are some very dangerous areas where ice and wind play a big part. Here's the summit. As you can see, you don't see any figures on top of the summit. Nobody seemed to be climbing it that day. Another thing climbers have to avoid is lightning, because in the summertime the lightning comes almost every day and you're completely exposed to it up there. So they start their hike sometimes at 2 or 3 a.m. so they're back off the mountain before noon and the storms come. I took my Galaxy S24 and put it on a tripod behind the gift shop at the entrance to Rocky Mountain National Park and got a pretty decent picture of the Milky Way here. It was very quiet. The sky, I think, was Bortle 2, and I had never seen stars that clear in my life. I went deeper into Rocky Mountain National Park the next night and got this picture of the Milky Way over Long's Peak. You can just make out the snow on Long's Peak there on the bottom of the picture. Very strange out there in that meadow by myself. I felt like I was being watched all the time. Didn't see any other people up there, and it was pretty much pitch dark except for the sky. Got back to my cabin and started this time lapse with my Galaxy S24 on a tripod, and you can see the Milky Way coming into view from the left. By the time it gets to the middle of the screen, the sky will brighten up as the morning arrives quickly. Got the Seestar back out and was able to add about 8,000 images to 2,700 images I already had of M101. With the Bortle 2 skies, it looks like it really brought out the details in my image. This is not the best M101 I've ever seen, but it's my personal best, and the skies in Colorado are definitely some of the superior skies in our country to perform astrophotography. Hope you enjoyed this video. I really had a good time in Colorado. I'll have some other things to share later. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.